Let's get started with this example by adding or subtracting terms. Now, I definitely need to do that here because I've got both of my x terms on both sides of the equation. Same is true with my numbers. So I want to let's move the x's over so we've got them on the left and our numbers on the right. That means that we need to start by moving that 5x over. So I need to subtract that 5x from the right-hand side, but whatever I do on that side, I need to also do on the other side. So I'm going to subtract a 5x from both sides. Let's go ahead and do the math here. 8x minus 5x, 8 minus 5 is 3, so I get 3x. I still have that minus 2 on that side. And then on the other side of the equals, 5x minus 5x is 0. So that one's gone, and I just have my 7 left. That means that I still need to move the 2 to the other side. Let's go ahead and do that by undoing. It was subtracted, so I need to add the 2 to undo it and move it to the other side. Once I have done that, I can again do my math. I've got my 3x plus nothing is 3x. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Those go away. And on the other side of my equation, I have equals 9. This leaves me with step number 2. Now I'm ready to multiply or divide to get x all by itself. So you'll notice that we've got this 3 times x. I can sneak in a little multiplication symbol there. So I need to undo the multiplication by 3. And I'm going to do that by dividing both sides here by 3. Once I've done that division, I can cancel. 3 divided by 3 is 1. That leaves me with just x on the left-hand side, which is exactly what I wanted. And then 9 divided by 3 is equal to 3. This should be my solution, but the great thing about equations is we can check every single answer. Let's bring back up that original equation and check it. If 3 is our solution, it's going to make this original equation true. I'm going to replace the x's with my solution 3. And I'm going to go ahead and do the math. 24 minus 2 equals 15 plus 7. And if I go ahead and finish the math, I get 22 equals 22. So 3 is my solution because it makes this equation true. In this next one, I'm not quite ready to do that first step, adding and subtracting. Instead, I need to start with the simplify step. Take a look at the right-hand side of our equation. I've got a negative out in front of the parentheses, so I'm going to need to distribute. Let me start by rewriting what I have on the left. 3x is equal to, we're not going to do anything with that first 2, and now we're going to distribute the negative into the parentheses. Negative times x is negative x. Negative times negative 2 is going to be a positive 2. Now we're going to continue to simplify. We're just focusing on that right side of the equation. And I can continue to simplify because I've got a 2 and a plus 2. If I add those together, 2 plus 2 is 4, and I have a negative x. Now there's nothing else that I can do on the individual sides, on the left or on the right. So that means that I am ready for that add or subtract step. I want to get x's on one side and numbers on the other. This time, let's go ahead and put x's on the left side and numbers on the right side. And I'm going to do that because it's the easiest way to go. So I want to add that x. So that x needs to move. So I'm going to add the x to both sides. That's going to move it over to the x side. So I'm going to add an x. Now I can think of that x as a 1x. So as I do the math, I have 3x plus 1x, that's 4x. And on the other side, negative x plus x is 0. So I end up with just a 4. Now we're ready for that last step, which is to multiply or divide to get x by itself. I've got, similar to the last one, 4 times the x here. So I need to divide by a 4 to get rid of that, to undo it. And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. That leaves me with just an x on the left side. And 4 divided by 4 again on the right side is equal to 1. This should be our solution. Let's take just a second to check it. Here's my original equation. I want to replace the x's with a 1 And I'm going to go ahead and do the math starting inside those parentheses. And as I do that math, I get a 3 on the left and 2 minus negative 1 on the right. Well, 2 minus negative 1 is 2 plus 1, which is also 3. So x equals 1 is our solution. It makes our equation true. Now this last one is a special case. I'm so glad that you stuck around because this one can be one of the trickier ones, but not if you're prepared for it. So of the steps that I've got over here on the right-hand side, add or subtract, multiply or divide, simplify as you go, what would your very first step be? Okay, I'm hoping that you picked simplify as you go because we've got some things to do over on the right-hand side. Namely, I can distribute that 2 through the parentheses. So I'm going to go ahead and just write out what I have to start. So I've got a 2x plus a 2, nothing to do on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, let's distribute that 2. 2 times 4, so I get 2 times 4, plus 2 times x, and I've got that plus 3 on the end. I'm just going to simplify this, leaving everything on the left, continuing to simplify on the right. I get 8 plus 2x plus 3. So that gives me 2x plus 2 is equal to, I can add the 8 and the 3. That's 11 plus 2x. Now I'm finally ready for that first step, which is to add or subtract. I want to get, let's go ahead and do x's on the left and let's do numbers on the right. I need to move that 2x over to the other side, and I'm going to do that by subtracting. But watch what happens. So as I subtract that 2x, it goes away. 2x minus 2x is 0, so I get a 2 on the left. 2x minus 2x again is 0, and I get an 11 on the right. Now remember, the whole point of finding solutions is to make our equation true. But take a look at this equation. It will never be true. 2 is never equal to 11, so we say that this one has no solution. So if your variables go away and you end up with a false statement, there is no solution. You are doing so great with these multi-step equations. Up next, equations with fractions. Keep up the good work.